first little Java program. But before we can do that, there's a couple things you're going to need to have on your computer. BlueJ is a interactive Java environment, as you see there on the screen, and it's a free download, and we're going to use this most of the course. I like to use this in favor of some of the other ones because it's free, it's easy to use, it's easy to set up, and it's pretty lightweight. I think you'll like it. So you have to download this. It works on Macs and PCs, and I even think it'll work on a Linux machine. So when you download this, if you have a PC, I think you're going to need to download the Java JDK as well, which is the development platform for Java. So that will take you to a page like this, and you should be able to download the latest version of the JDK. Through experience, I'll let you know, it does seem a little easier to set this up on a Mac. I guess that's the case with a lot of software. On a PC, you have to go through a couple extra steps, but not too much. It's pretty straightforward either way. So follow the directions here on the website. Download this. I'm not going to go over setting it up. It's pretty easy to set up. But what I will go over, though, is once you have it set up, you're going to want to open BlueJ and create a new project. So you go to Project, New, and that brings up a little dialog box. And you're going to just put in the name of your project. We'll go AP Computer Science 1. And what this will do is create a folder on your hard drive that's going to contain all the files of this project. You have to do this, and then that will, once you hit create, I've already done it, something like this will pop up. It's pretty much a empty project holder that is created by BlueJ. And so to create our first project, we actually are going to, you can do two things in here. You can right click in here and hit new class. You also have the new class button right here. We'll hit new class, and we're going to type in hello world. Okay. Now before I get into creating your first Java program, just wanted to go over a couple of things. Some of you might be saying, what is Java? Well, simply put, Java is a programming language developed by Sun Microsystem, which is now owned by Oracle. It was developed in the 1990s. It's similar to C or C++, if any of you know that. But the nice thing about Java applications are that they can run on any machine and they should look the same. So what Java applications do is they're compiled to bytecode, which is computer level language. And then they can run on the JVM, which is the Java Virtual Machine. So you have to have that JVM on your machine, which pretty much any Mac or PC already has that when you buy them. The JVM allows Java programs to run the same regardless of what type of machine they're on. So the mantra is write once, run anywhere. It's also an object-oriented programming language. We'll get into what that means more later in later sessions. But because it's portable, it's very popular. And that's why I think the AP tests you on the Java language. And that's why, if you may have noticed, any of you have dabbled with the Android development kit, it's a Java-based language that they created. If you know Java, you can easily program an application for Android. So that's just a little background. Now let's start to dig in here a little bit. So we've created a project, and you have your class file here. All right, so let's look inside this class. So if you double click on it, you'll see that BlueJ automatically fills in any class you create with some pre-filled code. And what I'm going to have you do 99% of the time is just select all, Command A, Control A, and just hit delete, get rid of that. and you're going to start from fresh. All right, so the first thing I'm going to have you do is to type in a / and an asterisk, and then press enter. All right, and you'll notice the BlueJ fills in a couple more lines with asterisks and such. This is one of two ways that you can comment. Comment is a type of non-Java that allows you to type in non-Java language. It's good for leaving notes explaining what the program does, right? As we get into bigger programs, you'll have comments throughout your program describing what sections of the program do. All right, so how, in this instance though, what we're going to do is the customary way to comment at the top of a class. For every class you make, you should have at least 3 lines of comments at the top. It's not necessary, but it's good protocol to state your name, the date and or version number of the program, and a short description of what the program does. So that would look something like this. Come in here, and I would type something like that. So you can tell it is a comment the way it's grayed out here. Okay, so you have name, date, version number, and a short description of what the program does, right? So that should be at the top of each of your programs. Okay, so now let's get into actual Java programming. So I'm going to have you do a class header. So you will, each class you can declare it as either public or private. Most of the time we're going to do public. You have to say that it's a class, and then the name of the class, and then an open bracket and a closed bracket. Everything inside these brackets is inside the class Hello World. Okay, these names have to match. Okay, you get an error if they didn't. Next, we'll add the main method. So every program in Java should have a main method. You might have 100 different classes that make up your program. One of them will need to contain a main method. The main method is kind of like the ignition key for a Java program. It can't run without one. The main method header will always look the same. And I'm going to show you that in 1 second. Just copy it here and paste it inside our class. So it's always going to look the same. We'll explain exactly what all these elements mean at a later time, but just for now, know that you're going to have public, static, void, main. That's the name of the method. And then you have this string with a, what this is here is a square bracket, open, square bracket, close, the word args, and then close the parentheses, and then open bracket, close curly bracket. And so everything inside those curly brackets is inside the main method, right? So that's what you need to put your program in motion. Okay. So now we have our main method. The program can run. Well, it's still not doing anything. We want to print to the screen the words Hello World. Anytime we want to print to the screen in Java, we need to use a specific method called system out print. And that looks just like this. System.out.print and open close parentheses. The open close parentheses is basically lets you know that you're calling a method. In this instance, it's the print method. And you end every line with a semicolon. Every line that's not like a class header or a method header, we end with a semicolon. Okay? So whatever you put inside those parentheses, right here, will print to the screen. If you were to use a string variable, which we'll get into later, you could just put that inside the parentheses and it would print the contents of that variable. We'll learn about them soon. But for today, we're going to use what's called a string literal. We're going to put text enclosed in quotations inside the parentheses. So all we do is we open parentheses, hello, hello, comma, world, close parentheses. And you'll see that Java does a nice job of color coding things to know you got it right. Okay? Now, when we want to run the program, something will happen. Not much, but something will happen. However, first we need to compile it. Remember, you compile it, it transfers it to bytecode, then it makes it so that the Java virtual machine can run it. So every time you make a change to your program, you should compile it to make sure it works. Okay? Just to show you something here, I'm going to take out this semicolon. If I go up here and hit compile, I get an error, and actually, let me minimize this a little bit. You can actually see down here that it lets you know to the best of its ability what the error is. And in this case, it's letting us know we need a semicolon. So now we can go ahead and put that semicolon in. And point out one other thing as I compile this. Compiles now, it says class compiled, no syntax errors. You can have a space in between here. It doesn't have to be right up against. Java's good that way, is it just ignores white spaces for the most part. All right. So now we can run this program. So we compiled it. Actually, I just made a change by moving that semicolon over. So you'll notice that we have these straight, we have these slashes here going across this program. That means it's not yet compiled. There's been a change made since the last compile. So we can go ahead and just right click on it, hit compile, and that no errors. So compiling was done correctly. So now we actually want to run the program. Okay. So to run the program, all we need to do is to right click on it, click void, and it gives you the methods inside the program. And like I said, the method that is the engine here is the main method. So you're going to want to click on the main method. And then we can click OK when this screen comes up. And you'll notice this is your terminal window. A lot of our programs will be run through the terminal window. And it says hello world. All right, pretty simple, pretty basic. All I want you to do now is to get this to work on your computer at home. So that's your homework. Download BlueJ, download the JDK if you need to. Follow the instructions on BlueJ's website. If you look at the description in this YouTube video, I have the links for both of them. But you can just do a simple Google search as well. So your goal is to get this to work. Pretty easy assignment. Thanks.